Hello YouTube, I am Walking the Cow, and today in this video we're going to talk a little bit about the Gears of War film that has been announced. I believe it was announced on the 5th or the 6th of October. I heard about it first at the launch of Gears of War 4, which has recently just came out. And so what do we know for sure about this film, and what are my thoughts on it? Well, what we know for sure is that New Line Cinema acquired the rights to make the film. We know for a fact it's going to be directed by Len Wiseman. Len Wiseman is most notably known for the Underworld films, so that's an interesting choice of director. I can see that working. Writers, we got Chris Morgan, who's wrote a few of the Fast and the Furious sequels. I'm not too familiar with those films, not my kind of films at all, but he did write a few of those. And also, is it Stuart Beattie? Stuart Beattie, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Beattie. He's well known for writing the Pirates of the Caribbean films, so that'd be interesting to see him working on a Gears of War film. He also worked on writing some of the Pirates of the Caribbean video games, I think, as well. I was just checking our on Internet Movie Database earlier on, just looking up these people. So my first thoughts when I first heard about it, obviously I feel positive about it. Anybody who's played the Gears of War games, they started back on the Xbox 360 in, I believe, 2006. We've got 5 games so far: Gears of War 1, Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, Gears of War Judgment, and the recently released Gears of War 4. And anybody who's played those games, even from the first one, it seemed pretty obvious that they were going to make a movie at some point. And they've answered a lot of people's prayers, basically, by announcing this. So my first thoughts, before I looked into it, all I had to go on was the fact that I heard that the film had been announced. So my first thoughts were, what will happen? What will be the focus of the film? And I thought this could go a number of different ways. It could be a feature-length film based on either of the 5 games. Sorry, fireworks are going off in the background. It's only 2:30. I don't know why they're letting fireworks off at this time, but people will do what they want. So yeah, I thought this could go a number of ways. It could be a feature-length film based on either of the 5 games. It could be a continuation of the Gears of War 4 story, which picked up with some new characters, as well as Marcus Phoenix were still in Gears of War 4, obviously. That would make sense, because Gears of War 4 was a good game. I've finished it now. It would be good to make a film following that story on. If you haven't seen the ending to Gears of War 4, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it would be good if a movie did pick up there. It could be based on one of the books. I've sadly not read any of the books yet. There's 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 out. And the reviews I've read are all excellent. They're supposed to be really, really well written. So it makes sense if they'd base the film on maybe one of the books. And the books are set dotted all over the Gears of War timeline. And my final thought for what the plot could be, would they do a film set in the Gears universe that follows another set of characters set somewhere on the timeline? I thought that's probably the most least likely turnout. I can't imagine, if you get the New Line Cinema acquired the rights to make the film, I think I said that earlier on, I couldn't see him wasting a Gears of War film on a new set of characters. I think everybody wants to see the characters they're familiar with, but with it being a film based on a game, obviously they need to make it open to people who haven't played the game, so it needs to be enjoyable by both hardcore fans, casual players, and also people who are completely new to Gears of War. Having said that, I have done a little bit of research. There's not much to go on, and I can confirm that if the imdb.com website is anything to go by, then it's going to be based on the first game. I'll give you the description that I keep calling it International Movie Database. The Internet Movie Database gives this storyline. It says, where are we? I've lost it. There we go. On the planet Sarah, a former POW is civilization's best hope in their fight against the Locust Horde, a race of creatures who emerge from underneath the planet's surface, intent on eliminating humankind. So straight away we know the prisoner of war. They're obviously referring to Marcus Phoenix. So it's pretty much guaranteed that Marcus Phoenix is going to be in the film. It's probably going to definitely going to feature a younger Marcus Phoenix, and I'm guessing it is going to be based on the first game, which is a good idea. If somebody came to me and said, "What would you like to see a Gears of War film about?" I'd probably say, well, put Marcus Phoenix in it, give us a feature length retelling of the original game. That'd be excellent. So we got the writer Chris Morgan, one of the writers anyway. Chris Morgan apparently hinted on at Comic-Con 2008 that the film would be a prequel to the first game. Whether this is true or not, I said we don't know yet. He said it could explain how Marcus Phoenix got his scar. And according to the Chris Morgan, one of the writers, the director Len Wiseman has said he wants to make it as realistic as possible and to blur those lines where your mind says, "Oh, it's a big CGI film." And I'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm going to give you my opinion just quickly. We're going to round this video up. So my opinion is, we need to remember that it's going to be a film based on a video game. So don't get excited. Obviously, there's going to be those Gears of War fans, those really hardcore ones out there that no matter what it turns out to be like, they're going to love it anyway. But I'd say to just as regular fans, and even those hardcore fans, I'd say to you, don't get excited. My opinion on this is not to... don't get excited. Don't expect it to be something amazing. You're better off having low expectations because, as we all know, films based on video games don't usually turn out to be anything amazing or groundbreaking. There are a few exceptions. Personally, I liked the Super Mario Brothers film. I really did. I was a kid. I liked it. Just like I enjoyed the Mortal Kombat film. I even enjoyed the Streets of Rage, Street Fighter film. I saw it for what it was. It was a film based on a game. And like I said, you need to have low expectations with these things. The first time I saw the Silent Hill film, didn't like that. Saw it again, loved it, thought it was great. But then there's I don't like the Tomb Raider film. I think there might be two of them off, I can't remember. I don't like the Tomb Raider films at all. I really didn't like the Resident Evil films. The first one were a big letdown. I've seen a few of the other ones, really, really not impressed. But yeah, because it's a Gears of War film, I am happy that it's being made finally. We all knew that a day would come where a Gears of War film would be announced. But as I say, I'm not expecting anything amazing. I'm expecting it to be a typical film based on a video game. It's going to be about average. And having said that, the Gears franchise is really well suited to the big screen. As I've already said it like 2 or 3 times, but anybody who's played the Gears of War films, you kind of just knew they were going to make a movie at some point. And my final point, because there's not a lot to go on, and this is everything I know I've just more or less said. My disappointment with the film, the one thing that's kind of disappointed me is, if you remember the quote I just read a minute ago about how the director intends the film to be. That if that's true, then that's kind of confirmed that it's going to be a CGI film. And I don't know about anybody else. As a Gears of War fan, I'm not a hardcore fan. I'm not a massive hardcore fan, but I do like the series. I have played them a lot, and I was really excited to play Gears of War 4. But I don't know about anybody else, but the CGI, the idea of it being a CGI film is really... that's what... I don't know, I'm not happy about that. I'll be honest, I'm not happy that it's going to be a CGI film. Whether it looks realistic or not, it's a CGI film. I expected... before this were announced, my idea of what a Gears of War film would be like would be something along the lines of Starship Troopers, if anybody's seen that. And Gears of War since first getting into Gears of War, I got into Gears of War after the second game came out. There's something about it. It reminds me of Starship Troopers. I don't know why. It just does. And so yeah, my idea of a Gears of War film is not only something like Starship Troopers, which is a bit over the top and a bit cheesy, and I don't know. I did not expect... My idea of a Gears of War film is not a CGI film. I want real actors in it. Even there's lots of rumours going around. There's been rumours going around for years. To my knowledge, at least the last 5 or 6 years, there's been rumours that they are going to make a Gears of War film. And a lot of people have said that maybe they get, what's his name? I can't remember his proper name. Dwayne something? The Rock from WWF. A lot of people have said that it'd be great to get him in it. I don't agree with that, but if they made a live action film and it did have The Rock in it, I wouldn't mind, because at least it'd be live action. So yeah, as I said, I'm a little disappointed that it's going to be, if that is true, it's going to be a CGI film, then I don't know. That's kind of gone down in my estimations, if that's true. So what do you think of the Gears of War film? What are you looking forward to it? Did you expect it all along, like most of us did, as I said? And yeah, I've not really got much more to say about it, so I'm going to leave it there. Gears of War, the film, has been announced, and no release date yet, but it will be coming out. I'm guessing it's going to come out at 2018 at the earliest. Definitely. I can't see it. Then again, is it just because it's been announced? There's no guarantee it's actually going to happen. That's another thing. Just because it's been announced doesn't mean it's going to happen. It could be one of these films that goes through production hell. I hope it doesn't, but it could be. We never know. So I'm going to leave it there. There's my thoughts on the Gears of War film that's been announced. Let me know your thoughts below. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.